Hi everybody, so in this Steam Deck video, we're going to be looking at Resident Evil, the original game. Well, this is the remake, and it's one of those unusual titles. Actually, they're not that unusual. It's one of those older titles that in fact looks a lot better when you play it on the Steam Deck than when you actually play it on your PC, on your big monitor or on your television. Now, there's a few reasons for that. So in this video we're going to try and answer, does this run well on the Steam Deck, and is Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil, well, the Resident Evil remake, is it worth buying for your Steam Deck? And the answer to the first question is, oh yes. It runs very well. So when you first load up, it's important that you go into the settings and change it to 60 frames a second, and then you can go into your performance settings, you know, and maybe cap it at 60. And it looks very, very nice indeed and runs very, very smoothly. What happens with these older games is because they're, I'm not quite sure what the resolution would have been. It was probably a 720p game, I would have thought. You know, don't quote me on that. But remember that the Steam Deck resolution is only 800 by 1280, isn't it? So the resolution isn't that much different to the Steam Deck's native resolution. And because everything is squashed much smaller, it just means everything looks crisper. And what you're seeing here, this is the 512GB OLED model. And the beauty with OLED screens is that the brights, like these candles, are very, very bright. And then the darks in the blacks are very, very dark. Look at those reflections, actually, underneath. Look at that. Jill's feet. I forget, it's Jill, isn't it? So the games, older games, tend to look a lot better than they would if you were playing them on a big 24-inch monitor, for example, when, you know, that lack of resolution would really show up. So it runs very, very well. So the next question is Resident Evil Remake, or the original Resident Evil, is it worth playing these days? And I would say if you can get it cheap, very cheap, it's definitely worth getting. So maybe if you go to a key site or when it's on sale on Steam. There is an argument that this is the definitive fixed camera perspective version of Resident Evil. Now, you'll have to forgive me for just running backwards and forwards because I am actually talking as I'm recording this. I don't want to run into any zombies. But although it could be the definitive fixed angle one, unlike obviously the remakes, which are third person, and we've got the new games which are third person and third person. So you get that tight, claustrophobic feeling. But it's still new enough to be playable. You know, the controls and everything aren't that too bad. But you will probably have to play it next to your laptop or next to your phone where you've got a guide. Unless you're really dedicated. And I would always recommend as well is play it on the easy level to start off with. Play it with the guide so you kind of get an idea of what you should be doing and where you should be going. Because these games do not hold your hand about what you should be doing and where you should be going. And you'll need plenty of hints and tips to kind of get you progression, get you enjoying the game. Because remember that Resident Evil games are designed to be replayed again and again and again. So the idea is you go through, say, on easy mode, you know, get a taste for the game, and if you enjoy it, put it on the medium or put it on hard mode and try and go through, you know, playing it in a different way, and you'll definitely enjoy it more that way. I think it's definitely a game that every fan of Resident Evil should have a crack at some point, especially if, like me, you've come... Well, so with me, I played the original Resident Evil 2 on my N64 many, many years ago, and thoroughly enjoyed that, but didn't play... Then I played Resident Evil 3 Nemesis on my PlayStation 2, even though it was a PlayStation 1 game, and then didn't play any Resident Evil games until Resident Evil 4 Remake, so I missed out 4, missed about 5, missed out 6, and then I had a PlayStation 4, and then Resident Evil 2 Remake came out, and I played that, and that was absolutely fantastic. And now, you know, I love the remake, so I love Resident Evil 3 remake, bit short. Resident Evil 4 is amazing. Resident Evil 7 Village, absolutely amazing. And in fact, Resident Evil 8 could be my favourite one, if you include the DLC, kind of working along that way. And probably by saying that, a lot of hardcore Resident Evil fans are probably going, well, what you're saying doesn't make any difference then if you think that Resident Evil 8 is the best Resident Evil. But I digress. When I've played all the way through this Resident Evil, I did enjoy it. I did find it frustrating at parts. That's why I needed to have a guide nearby to work through. But as you can see, hopefully in this YouTube video, that it does look very, very nice on the Steam Deck, and the controls are nice. And yeah, I can't really recommend it any more than that. It can be frustrating because remember it is an old game, but it's not too old that it's very difficult to play. Like if you try and play the original Resident 2 and Resident Evil 3's emulate, using an emulator, they definitely don't hold up as well as this. I mean, this looks absolutely fantastic. Anyway, that's enough from me. So if you see Resident Evil, the original one remake on sale on Steam or on a cheap key site, pick it up, give it a go, and I'm sure you'll enjoy yourself. Anyway, that's enough from me. Hope you found this video useful. If you have, hit like, want to see more, same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.